Hey, good morning. Today is Sunday, August 24th, 2025. When I was reading the news this morning, I saw that I'm a huge UFC fan, and I saw that Quinton Jackson's son, who's also an MMA fighter, I guess he was at some kind of, he's associated with a professional wrestling organization, and they were, I don't know where they were, but something got out of hand. I saw the video on TMZ, and Quinton got in the ring, picked this huge dude up and then body slammed him. But after he body slammed him, he started punching him. And I think there was an altercation outside of the ring. I'm not exactly sure what prompted everything, but of course, this wasn't scripted. And Quinton beat the shit out of this guy. If you watch the video, I'll tag the TMZ video in the description. But got on top of him and just started wailing, punch after punch after punch, and it took several people to pull him off. Um, I've got a lot of respect for professional wrestling. I used to watch a lot of it when I was a kid with my grandfather. I love professional wrestling, but it's choreographed, meaning that if somebody gets hurt, it's because they fell wrong. Rarely is there an actual punch or a kick that's a legitimate punch or a kick like there would be in UFC or boxing that would hurt somebody. So punching somebody bare knuckle with the intent to injure is definitely not part of professional wrestling. The video is extremely violent. Quinton is a very, very big guy. He's a strong young man. And from what I understand, the other wrestler went to the hospital, and luckily he's okay. I guess he was knocked out unconscious in the ring. Luckily he's okay, and he's come to, at least from what I saw. I saw Rampage post something saying that the guy was responsive. So I hope he is okay. I hope he's fine. I don't know what's going to happen legally. A lot of times when these sporting events happen, they sweep it under the rug. Um, but let's say, for instance, this, and I am one of the top, I own one of the top criminal defense law firms in Arizona. So we represent more people than any other law firm for criminal defense matters. And being that we're in Phoenix, we get a lot of people, a lot of clients that went to the clubs in Scottsdale or in the Phoenix area, and they're drinking and they get in fights. And one thing leads to another, and they're fighting the bouncer, they're fighting the other patrons. A lot of times they're even fighting their friends because they've had too much to drink. There's different types of fights. If I punch somebody or if I shove somebody and it's boys just being boys, it could just be a misdemeanor assault. But if you really, really hurt somebody, and especially in this where it was not a mutual fight, and so this was a choreographed wrestling event, and the victim was not expecting it, did not consent to it, was body slammed, and yes, maybe he consented to that. But when Quentin got on top of him and started just wailing on him, obviously he did not consent to that. So that would be a class 3 felony aggravated assault if he was charged in Arizona, especially if there was injury involved. And clearly there was injuries because there was blood everywhere on the mat and he was taken to the hospital. So I don't know what's going to happen with Quentin. I highly doubt anything's going to happen because, like I said, in professional sports, usually it gets resolved outside of court. But let's say, for instance, you're in the city of Scottsdale and you're drunk and you sucker punch somebody, you get them on the ground, you start punching them, or you kick them in the head or you kick them in the stomach, which we get a lot of. You could be facing an aggravated assault. The bond is going to be huge. You're probably looking at least a $10,000 bond, sometimes even higher. And then you could be looking at prison anywhere from 2.5, 3.5, or even aggravating factors up to 7 years in prison. So you guys, you got to be smart. And I know that I'm big into the gym, and I know that testosterone gets high, and I know guys get their egos in the way, especially when they're drinking. And one thing leads to another, and it ends up in a fight. But you cannot, and I don't condone fighting for anybody, but especially if you have a lot on the line, a lot to lose. If you're a professional, you got a good job, you have a family, you've got a wife and kids, don't even put yourself in that situation. Just walk away, because all it takes, and I've represented people in the past where you punch somebody legitimately, but they fall back and they hit their head and they die, or they go unconscious, or they are paralyzed. You're in a lot of trouble if that happens. Or you just get out of control, like what happened with Quentin, and you rage out and you start wailing on somebody. You're out of control. And you may be a good person. This may be a one-off, and it may be alcohol influenced, or it may be testosterone influenced. But in the eyes of the law, it's not going to matter, and you could very well be going to prison. So I hope that the victim in this case is okay. I hope there's no lasting effects. I hope he comes to and he makes a full recovery. Quentin, whatever's going on in your personal life, I hope you get that under control, and hope nothing comes out of this thing. Hope you learned your lesson. I hope it never happens again. But I wanted to shoot this video just to let everyone know the real consequences associated with fighting, especially fighting that gets out of hand, or maybe not out of hand, but you land the right punch and the person breaks their nose or falls and hits their head, as I mentioned, or hits their head against the bar, and there's more serious consequences or serious health consequences. So, guys, don't put yourself in this situation. If you find yourself in this situation, you and your loved one, and you've been arrested or charged with a criminal offense in Arizona, give us a call. I shoot a lot of these videos. I try to shoot them daily. I think it's a good habit for me to get into, and I try to keep it topical rather than just some boring education about whatever. So I find a current event and I post on it, and I try to educate my viewers. I'm only licensed in the state of Arizona, so my advice only applies to Arizona. I'm generally speaking about the rest of the country. But if you subscribe to my channel, I appreciate that. If you drop a comment in the comment area, just say, hey, Matt, I appreciate the video, or next time shoot the content over whatever. I'd be more than happy to answer whatever questions you have, as long as they relate to DUI or criminal offense. But I hope you all have a good Sunday. Again, I wish you a speedy recovery. Quinton, if you see this, I wish everything well with you. And thank you for watching.